We've shown you the horrors of what's happening on the outskirts of Kyiv in Bucha. The world has been reeling in horror by the images that have been coming out of that city. But now let's take you to a place where Russia has established near total control. It's the Donetsk region in the eastern part of Ukraine. Once again, it's India Today's Geeta Mohan, who is the only Indian reporter, perhaps the only international reporter in many of these areas, reporting from the actual front lines. Here's an exclusive report she sent us from Horlivka in Donetsk as she travels to the new front line. This is a region where the war is raging on currently between Russian and Ukrainian forces. This is Geeta in Horlivka.
I'm here on a field artillery ammunition support vehicle, and Officer Alexei is my right to the front line. We are going there in just a bit from now to see what the situation is. This is beyond Gorlovka. They've taken the space, this entire place, which was Ukrainian territory, and now we'll see how fierce the fighting is at the border, the new front line between Ukraine and Donbass. With video journalist Satya Rautre, Geeta Mohan for India Today. We are here in Verkhneyarskaya. This is the front line. You can hear not so far away from here, action is ongoing. A fierce fight and assault, not just from the Russian side, but also a response from the Ukrainian side as well. But you can see over here the vehicles, armored vehicles, the artillery carriers, some of them destroyed, because look at the house, look at the houses, and the school over there completely destroyed. That school over there is absolutely destroyed. So that's the situation on the ground. But the Russian forces have taken control of this place, and the assault, the firing, shelling, bombing continues at the border, the new front line. With video journalist Satya Rautre, Geeta Mohan for India Today. This is in memory of the mass graves of soldiers, Soviet soldiers who laid down their lives in World War II. Today, the structure is absolutely destroyed because of the shelling and the bombing that took place over here in Verkhneyarskaya village. And the officers over here are showing us around, saying that how it is this very land that fought against the Nazis, that fought the Germans, and it was Soviet Union that played a huge role. These are the soldiers who were honored here in this very village, which is just ahead of Gorlovka, but today completely destroyed, because this is the new front line. With video journalist Satya Rautre, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
One of the first places that the Russians attacked in the initial days of the invasion of Ukraine was the famous Antonov Hostomel airport just north of Ukraine's capital of Kyiv. It was home to the world's largest aircraft, the AN-225 Mriya. Well, we reported to you how that aircraft had been destroyed, but the news now is that Ukraine has retaken this crucial airfield just to the north of Kyiv. The airport, like I said, was home to the world's biggest aircraft, the iconic Antonov AN-225 that was destroyed in Russian shelling. Here's a report on how Ukraine is picking up the pieces after the Russians have retreated from Hostomel.
The Hostomel airport, which housed the world's largest cargo plane, Mriya, destroyed and unrecognizable now. "40 days into the war, this airport lies abandoned and wrecked after a targeted attack by Russia. Ukrainian forces have now regained control of Hostomel, but there's nothing left of this airport or of the beloved Mriya. Once a site of great pride of Ukraine and the world, Mriya, which means dream in Ukrainian, has been wiped out. Now there's just debris, bits and pieces left behind after the Russian airstrike. Russian forces had set their eyes on the Hostomel airport almost immediately after the invasion began. The reason? The strategic location of this airport, located less than 10 kilometers outside of the capital, Kyiv. Merely 2-3 days into the war, Russian military Mi-8 utility helicopters were captured in an airborne assault on the Hostomel air base north of Kyiv. It was the first of many mammoth strikes on this airport, and very soon it was up in flames, and Mria, the dream, was shattered. Once a pride of Ukraine has now been reduced to a burnt-out mass of debris, and the world's largest aircraft now lies destroyed in its hangar, never to take to the skies again. Bureau Report, India Today.
And now to put the spotlight on that humanitarian crisis. Remember, India Today is sparing absolutely nothing to bring you every image of this terrible, terrible war. People are leaving their homes in droves and fleeing the war-torn nation and taking refuge in neighboring Poland mostly. India Today's Mausami Singh brings you this ground report from Poland's Wrocław. Take a look.
An exemplary example of how every drop really counts and every hand of help strengthens humanity. Here you can see that people from Ukraine are getting help here at the Wrocław railway station, where all the information is being provided, pamphlets, brochures, information from the online information is being given. You can see some information on the information board, and that's a band of volunteers, a sea of volunteers at Wrocław who really made it count. You can see this is the volunteer center. We'll take you inside and show you how Yuri is one of the man in charge here, and also along with the band of women and men who are making it count. They've got a big huge smile on their faces. We just spoke to them, and here you can see a sea of help, small things. If people leave their homes, they shouldn't feel lost. They shouldn't feel that they've left their homes and they are in a strange world. A home away from home. Let's look at it. You've got jackets and you've got banners, you've got strollers right there, bags. Especially the entire help is focused on women and children. That's the key to the entire stretch of help that you can see here. Toys, especially for children who've left their toys, left their school, left their home, and left all their loved ones, perhaps their fathers, back in Ukraine. Poland has really opened a gate of help with cities after cities, helping the people who are actually away from home, and importantly, Wrocław scripting history with the refugees when they come. This is the kind of extent of planning that's gone into it, suites, and this is also your home, a home away from home, just making them feel special, making them feel that they do belong somewhere, and there are people who are concerned and worried for you. That's the picture that you see at the Wrocław railway station, and this is not the only city in Poland. That's one reason that Poland has become one of the biggest examples as far as giving shelter to refugees from Ukraine is concerned. An entire influx serving as a transit gate, serving as a huge shelter for the homeless who have been torn and ravaged by this war. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, this is Mausami Singh in Wrocław, Poland for India Today.
It isn't just cities that have been under attack in Ukraine, but also the countryside, the rural areas, the villages. A month after Russian air raids destroyed the Yakovlivka village near Kharkiv, about 40 kilometers from the Russian border, residents of the village are starting to rebuild. Take a look at this report.
Where homes once stood, there are now piles of rubble. This is Yakovlivka, a village home to about 600 people, around 19 miles from the Ukrainian northeastern city of Kharkiv. It was hit by Russian bombing on March the 3rd, leaving houses destroyed and craters in the ground. Reuters met local resident Vera Babenka there. The 66-year-old's house was damaged by the shelling. Babanka said she was in the house when an attack occurred. She and her family ran out and hid under a cage when they heard aircraft flying ahead. A pile of rubble and a fridge is all that remains of her kitchen. Her son Yuri showed Reuters a crater caused by the explosion just yards from the building.
Nobody believed that after such an explosion, anyone could survive.
Russia denies attacking civilians in what it says is a special military operation to demilitarize and denazify its southern neighbor. Ukraine and its Western allies say that is a baseless pretext for a war of aggression. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Saturday the military situation in the east of the country remained difficult, warning that Russia was preparing for new strikes in Kharkiv and the Donbass region. But for now, residents in Yakovlivka are banding together to help rebuild what remains of their village. For Vera, she says the first thing to do is to rebuild her kitchen.